We have this Shabbat, Be'ezrat Hashem, the reading of two long and complicated parashiot, Parashat Tazria and Parashat Messora. They deal in fact with all the rules of Tum'ah and Tahara, the Messora in particular, and I would like to leave those details on the side and instead focus on just the actual names of those parashiot. As we usually do, there is always a very, very deep message that we can extract just for the names of those parashiot. Tazria comes from the word zera. Zera in Hebrew means the descendants. When someone has children and grandchildren, he has a zera. And in fact, this is exactly the first topic of Parashat Tazria. Isha ki Tazria veyaleda zachar. It's a beautiful simcha for the parents. They have now a baby boy or a baby girl. And we go on with the halachot of Brit Milah, etc. Messora, on the other hand, has a very negative connotation. The parasha of Messora talks about the person that has tzaraat. Chachamim explain that it is usually happening because he is not careful with his language. He speaks lashon hara, or he is motzi shem ra, which is the reason that he becomes a Messora. Messora as mosira, extracting the bad. And we can already see immediately the connection between the Tazria and the Messora. The common denominator is that they both give birth to something. On one hand, the parents, that woman, gave birth to a beautiful baby. And that is probably the most beautiful and most amazing thing that a person can experience in his life. But in parallel, some bad things can come from someone, especially his speech, his words, or we can go further into actions, Chas v'Shalom. And I think that this is a moment of reflection that we must have. Whatever we say, whatever we do, always has consequences. But it's up to you to choose what we are going to give birth to. We can choose good. We can choose positivity. We can choose Tazria. Or Chas v'Shalom, it could be the opposite. It could be Motzira, that we take something bad out of ourselves. And if you ask, so what's the difference? How exactly do we make sure that we stick to the Tazria part and not to the Messora part? Well, I think that once again, it is hinted in the beauty of Lashon HaKodesh. Because Tazria comes from the word Zera. And what's so special about Zera is one thing, time. You see, in fact, Zera is not just about children, it's also about agriculture. Lizroa, Zorea on Shabbat is a melacha, and it means to take a seed, to plant it in the ground, and to see a tree or a plant growing. But when does that happen? Much later. It takes time. It doesn't happen right away. And same thing for children. We all know that it takes at least 8 to 9 months for a baby to come out. It takes time. And maybe the difference is right there. Tazria means that there was some kind of thought. There was a time of reflection. There was a time where the person asked himself, herself, is it worth it? Is it right? Is it going to hurt someone? That is the Tazria. Messora, on the other hand, is the opposite. Lehotzi is instant. It's right away. And most of us, by the way, when we are confronted with the big Yetzirah of Lashon Hara, so many times we feel, I wished I just thought about it. I wished that I just held my tongue and didn't say anything. It was just about taking the time to think, is it worth it? Is it worth to ruin Chas v'Shalom someone's life for a minute of fame? Is it worth having a conversation about other people when we are not ourselves that praiseworthy? And that is where the difference stands. But today I would like to really emphasize on the global idea. And that is the fact that whatever we say and whatever we do always has consequences, because we don't live only for ourselves. There's no such thing as a person who can deny the fact that there are consequences to whatever he does. The consequences are going to be for ourselves. They are going to be for others. They're going to be today. They're going to be tomorrow. They're going to be here where we are, and they're going to be also in many, many other places that are not even in our control. And we need to reflect on that. That is the global message of Tazria and Messora together. This is what Adam is. This is what humanity is about. And most importantly, we have to be responsible. We have to carry on ourselves, not just as humans, but also as Jews, the fact that what we say and what we do always will have an impact. And as we celebrate today Yom Ha'atzmaut, which is mostly translated as Independence Day, I personally always have an issue with that translation, and I'll tell you why. Because independence means that I live for myself, that I have that freedom to be independent. I don't link myself to others. I don't depend on others. And probably others don't depend on me either. But that is the wrong definition of Yom Ha'atzmaut. Yom Ha'atzmaut is actually the opposite. It's a day that we reflect on the values of Torah, Judaism. And as Jews, yes, Baruch Hashem, we have Medinat Israel. Yes, Baruch Hashem, we have Eretz Israel. Yes, we have a kibbutz galuyot of so many Jews coming from everywhere in the world in Eretz Israel to share that common goal, to live together. And maybe we have this pride of having Yom Ha'atzmaut as being independent and not being depending on other nations in Eretz Israel. But we have to be very careful to realize that as Jews living in Eretz Israel with that independence, the world depends on us. We carry that responsibility of Tikkun Olam. And this is a motto that Eretz Israel and Medinat Israel always had. Over the years, Israel became a symbol of a country that cares, a country that helps, a country that is necessary to the world in so many domains, in science, technology, medicine, agriculture, in every single area, especially in high tech. No programs that can be developed without Israel's help. And I think that this is what we need to reflect on Yom Ha'atzmaut, where we are the Tazria of the world, where we need to continue in that mission, to understand and to realize that whatever we do in that very tiny country, in our very tiny life, does have consequences for the entire world. And as we have started for those 73 years to show the example, to be role models, to help and guide the world around us, may HaKadosh Baruch Hu continue to give us the strength, the courage, the dignity to carry that mission, to continue to be an or lechol ha'amim, a light for all the nations. And He will send us throughout these efforts the final Geula, the binyan of the Beit HaMikdash, the Mashiach Tzidkenu b'merav v'yamenu. Amen ken yehi ratzon. Shabbat shalom and Yom Ha'atzmaut sameach.